G'day guys and gal! The debate of which Space Marine Legion is the most powerful is a hot one. Some think it's the Ultramarines, others the Lunar Wolves. I think it's the Dark Angels. However, what a lot of us don't realize is that the most powerful Legion, or at least the Legion with the most potential, is actually the Alpha Legion. They were probably the largest, had 2 Primarchs, obtained the blueprint to the Primarch Project, were being sponsored by the most powerful conclave of Xenos in the galaxy, and had infiltrated pretty much every Legion and knew almost everything. So why, if they were so overpowered, did they do the least out of all the traitor legions during the Horus Heresy and beyond? And before you say it's because they were playing both sides, Alpharis was explicitly aiming for a dominant and decisive victory for Horus. Before we get started, there's no sponsors or products today, so I thought I'd show some of the latest minis I've been painting. I'm currently working on a more advanced gold scheme for my Custodes, including giving them spicy power swords. However, the model I really want to show today is the Space Elf Firelord from Major Minis. I put a bunch of spicy new techniques into this one and I'm really happy with the end result. Link to pick him up as well as dozens of other minis I've produced is in the description below. Today we'll go over just how powerful the Alpha Legion is, as well as why they seem to do piss all in the setting. Let's get into it. The Alpha Legion and their first Primarch Alpharius had a huge advantage over the other legions. That being Alpharius was never scattered along with his Primarch brothers, but was instead raised by Malcador and the Emperor to be a master of infiltration and espionage. He had the unique opportunity to infiltrate and analyze nearly every single legion before knowledge of the Alpha Legion's existence was ever known. As such, the Alpha Legion had in-depth data regarding battle doctrine, strength, and weaknesses of the other legions. The Alpha Legion rarely ever conquered worlds, instead weakening them via sabotage and assassination, making them incredibly easy for follow-up legions to conquer, with that legion not even knowing that the Alpha Legion was there in the first place. This combined with a pretty stable gene seed meant that the Alpha Legion had a massive legion, arguably the largest, whilst employing the use of thousands of highly specialized mortal agents that were just as valuable, if not more so, than a Legionnaire. Meanwhile, none of the legions knew anything about the Alpha Legion beyond the obvious fact that they were a bunch of sneaky fucks. Then bam, a Megan is found and now they have 2 Primarchs. Each Alpha Legion Primarch wasn't like a half Primarch. They had all the physical and mental power of a normal Primarch alongside the ability to give their blood to an Alpha Legionnaire, which would massively boost their intelligence and power, making them a demi-Primarch and the perfect double for either Alpharius or Omegon. Both of them also had the psychic ability to impersonate others so accurately that even other Primarchs wouldn't be able to tell. Going back to the empowering of the Alpha Legionnaire via their blood, for context on how much of a power-up this provided, empowered Alpha Legionnaires gain the ability to take on multiple other Space Marines at the same time, being able to kill 4 or more without too much drama. The only reason why the twin Primarchs didn't just spam the shit out of this ability, after all it literally just required a bit of blood, was because the empowered Alpha Legionnaires also got access to the Primarch's inner thoughts and memories, something that was pretty not a-okay for Alpharius Omegon. However, the numerous flaws within the Alpha Legion first started to show during the Horus Heresy. The Alpha Legion and Alpharius Omegon chose to join Horus, despite the fact that they were actually both loyalist, or at least believed themselves to be. They joined Horus as they were told by the Cabal, a conclave of super Xenos from various races, that if Horus won a decisive victory, then he and the other traitor Primarchs would engage in a civil war that would decimate them all, leaving Chaos defeated and the galaxy empty for Xeno races to rise on the ashes of the now extinct humanity. But if the Emperor won, then the galaxy would stagnate and decay over 10,000 years, as Chaos grew more and more powerful before wiping everything out. Alpharius believed that the Emperor's primary goal was the destruction of Chaos at all costs, so he thought that the Emperor would actually want him to betray him. As we can see, Alpharius is a bit of a fucking retard, and incredibly arrogant to assume the thoughts of the Emperor. Another spanner in the works is that Omegon didn't actually agree with Alpharius, but since Alpharius was the dominant Primarch who directly controlled most of the Legion, like Omegon's existence wasn't even known by 99% of the Alpha Legion itself, he couldn't openly disagree or go against his brother. This is the pivotal factor that prevented the Alpha Legion from dumpstering everything. Some examples of Omegon thwarting Alpharius include when he directed an elite Alpha Legion strike team to attack an Alpha Legion outpost, destroying it and killing all the Alpha Legionnaires within it, which in turn then destroyed a device that was preventing the White Scars from hearing about the heresy. He then manipulated his legion so that they would antagonize the White Scars and help push them towards the loyalist cause. This is why the Alpha Legion's loyalties are so confusing. Are they loyal? No, but kind of. The Alpha Legion wasn't told why they joined Horus, they were just kind of told that was that, so a lot of them had their doubts about everything, doubts that Amigan constantly exploited. As a side effect though, many Alpha Legionnaires embrace chaos, thus making them super difficult for Amigan to work with. This Alpha Legion self-sabotage and infighting is the key reason why they seem to never be able to make a lasting impact by themselves. But what about the Primarch Project Blueprint they stole from the Raven Guard? What became of it? For context, when the Raven Guard got absolutely sodomized on Isstvan, Corvus went to Terra and was given knowledge from the Emperor to be able to rapidly create new, more powerful Raven Guard. Basically Primaris Raven Guard before Primaris was a thing. The Alpha Legion was told of this gift by their Xeno benefactors and endeavored to steal it for their own usage. They succeeded, however the operation was led by Amigan, with him stealing the Primarch Blueprint, however his secondary mission to destroy all Raven Guard gene seed failed. Whether that was by his design is unclear. When Alpharius and Amigan returned to the War Master, they gave Fabius Bile a faulty replica of the project that the traitors would never be able to emulate, hence keeping the real prize to themselves. So like, why doesn't the Alpha Legion have 10 million Primaris Alpha Legionnaires? Well, this is a bit of theory crafting, but Amigan was the one who retrieved the blueprint, not Alpharius. So who is to say if Amigan also gave his brother a faulty replica? Amigan also cut ties with the Cabal organization, seemingly without his brother's permission, denying Alpharius from learning about other important future events. When Alpharius attacked Pluto, he did so without the support or reinforcement of Amigan. Hence, when Alpharius came face to face with Rogal Dawn, he was doomed. Instead of withdrawing or surrendering, his arrogance, his fatal flaw, led him to believe that he could genuinely beat Dawn in a duel. Well, he fucking didn't, as Rogal Mortal Kombat fatality'd the shit out of Alpharius, killing the Primarch. And yes, Alpharius did die, it wasn't a decoy. Amigan then withdrew the Alpha Legion from the heresy after permanently taking the mantle of sole Primarch of the Alpha Legion. This is why, despite their huge advantages and legion size, that they didn't end up being as effective in the heresy as they could have. Compare this to all the effort Perturabo put in, or Lorgar against the Ultramarines, and it's pretty wild. Their greatest achievement was preventing the Raven Guard from rebuilding their legion. At the end of the day, they were having a civil war. Alpha Legionnaires were killing Alpha Legionnaires, whilst the subtle manipulations by Amigan stunted their full potential. If Amigan was also a traitor, then the Raven Guard would likely be extinct, the White Scars never would have learnt of the heresy until it was too late, and Dawn may have been killed by the combined might of both Alpharius and Amigan. All Amigan would have needed to do is pose as a basic Alpha Legionnaire until Dawn arrived, and then just 2v1 him on Pluto. They would have been by far the most deadly and effective traitor legion because fundamentally, they were overpowered as fuck. What about post-heresy? After all, their legion probably suffered the lowest amount of casualties out of everyone and also didn't flee to the Eye of Terror, while Amigan faked his own death at the hands of Guilliman, causing the legion to break up into small war bands. Some had drunk the Chaos Kool-Aid and would serve the forces of Chaos without a secondary agenda. Some would just renegade, however others knew of Amigan and the still loyalist intentions of their original purpose. Sometimes these loyalist Alpha Legionnaires travel to war zones with direct orders from Amigan. Other times Amigan manipulates Chaos Alpha Legionnaire warbands into attacking a specific target, alerting Imperial defenders to their own weak points. The chief example of this was the Siege of Vrax, where the Imperium wasn't taking the siege seriously until Alpha Legionnaires randomly got involved, thus triggering an appropriate response. However, despite Amigan's efforts, the Alpha Legion is still like 90% traitor, and continues to do a fuckload of damage to the Imperium, with Amigan himself needing to cause superficial damage here and there to keep up the deception. He isn't turning the Alpha Legion into a force of the Imperium, he is just preventing it from absolutely annihilating the Emperor's domain. The proper reappearance of Amigan is overdue. It would make a fucking fantastic book to see what he has been up to in recent times. In my opinion, the duality of the Alpha Legion is one of the most interesting aspects of 40k lore and needs a bit more time spent on it. A lot of what I've said today isn't gospel, just putting together information and conclusions based on evidence and data we have received. But with the amount of time I've spent on these boys, I'm pretty confident about it. So overall, it was Alpharius' arrogance as evident by him challenging Dawn directly and trying to play 4D chess with the Emperor without realizing the Emperor didn't give a fuck, as well as Amigan's secret loyalist agenda that kneecapped the hell out of the otherwise wildly overpowered Alpha Legion. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up a major mini. We have Kitten, Xenonid, Space Elf Firelord, Scorpion Lord, and so much more. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more alpha content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.